Hello, welcome, and Happy New Year. Joining me is our current foster dog. His name is Plymouth. I'm calling him Puck because he's a little bit mischievous and wily. Lizzie's also in here, so you may see her too. Before we start practicing, we're going to take just a moment to sit. And the reason that I wanted to do this is because a lot of times when the mind is already in kind of an agitated state, if we step into our yoga practice or meditation practice, sometimes we can increase that agitation. Sometimes it works the opposite and it sort of clears things out. But today, we're just going to sit for a minute or two before we do a little bit of movement with the body. If you want to skip this part, you can just fast forward. But for those of you who'd like to stay, find a comfortable seat. You can close your eyes if you like that. I already have. That's my preference often. And we're going to attend to the empty space. So think of this as a clearing out. So as you exhale, you're thinking about releasing the clutter of the mind. And instead, what you're going to focus on is the quiet. So today in this mindfulness practice, I'm going to teach you two ways to do that. So one is to be actively listening into your environment and listening for the silence behind the sounds, the space from which the sounds come and into which they dissolve. Another way to do it, especially if you have more of a meditation practice, is to be the observer of your thoughts, to watch the thinking mind, and to see if you can notice the gaps or spaces between the thoughts. This field of emptiness from which thoughts come and go. So notice that we're not trying to stop the thoughts, we're not trying to stop the sounds. We're just trying to make space for what is and to, in fact, focus on the space around what is. So whenever something is troubling or agitating, this is a really useful practice. So let's stay with this for just another minute or two. Listening into the silence behind the noise, either externally around us or within our own minds. And then take a breath in through the nose, let it out like a sigh through the mouth. When you're ready to move, you are going to make your way onto your back. Sorry, buddy, I gotta move. Yeah. And draw your knees in toward your chest. You can hold your knees with your hands or your arms. Just let your back relax and spread out onto the mat underneath you. Think of this now as like the same kind of practice, giving space to help work with any agitation or emotion that might be brewing. Okay, place your feet back on the mat. Take your arms overhead, take your palms toward the ceiling as you do that, just to get a nice long stretch through the arms. And then bend your elbows down to the sides, so you're making kind of like right angles with your elbows out off to the sides of the mats. Hi, sweetheart. Separate your feet about as wide as your mat, so the knees are apart, feet are apart, and just drop your knees over to the left. Let that right hip lift so the right side of the body opens. If it bothers your knee, your right knee, you can move the knee closer to the left leg or make it a little straighter, that knee. Just soften your eyes. Soften your throat, your chest. Sweep the knees up and windshield wiper them over to the other side. And let your body have that same space, not pressing or forcing it. Just let it relax the way you've relaxed the mind. Bring those legs back to center. And once again, you're going to hold your knees with your hands. And this time when you exhale, you're going to bring your head up, make a little crunch, little belly work. Start to push with the legs and rock. Hi, bud. Until you can sit back up. Once you're sitting, you're going to bend your left leg in. Whoops. And take your right leg out to the side. So from here, you're going to lean forward. Dog interference, always interesting to work with. Whenever we get a new dog, it's always fun to see how they adapt to this kind of practice. So working with what you have in your environment, you lean a little bit forward between the legs. You're going to get that stretch down the inside of your right leg. And we're going to use that right arm to brace against the leg, and then we're going to open the left arm up and bring it overhead. If that's too much, you can just leave it on your knee or your hip or your dog or cat if you have a pet with you. Okay, now we're going to turn and face the straight leg, and we're just going to bow over. And let the head release down. Excuse me, he's rubbing against my microphone. Sorry about that, guys. Sit yourself up. Switch out which leg is bent. We're going to lean a little bit forward. So it's kind of comical and ironic that this theme is like we're making space for ourselves, for our body, for our mind, and I have someone who's not giving personal space. So sometimes we have to learn how to work with that when something's kind of on us. Where can you create room? We're going to lean over the straight leg. And with animals like this, you can kind of nudge away. It's not mean or harsh. He's just learning boundaries. See, he's fine with it. Take that top arm where you need it. I'm going to turn and face toward the straight leg. So when we're learning to work in this way, to give space for the body, for the mind, for our emotions, and we have to work with others, not everyone speaks the same language as us. Like some people need a really a firm boundary. They need strong language. He doesn't. He needs it's gentle. See, he listens right away. He walks away. What does your body need? More firm, more gentle. Okay, sit on back up. And then we're going to do, it's going to look a little funny because I'm going to be facing the camera for a second, but we're going to do a little open of the legs. And what I want you to feel when you open your knees to the side is at what point is there a natural restriction? It's kind of like, where does your hip flexibility or bone on bone structure stop? So when you feel that, that's the angle at which you're going to straighten your legs. Sorry about the crotch shot there. So I don't care about how wide or narrow it is. You just go where you can with your body, your bone structure. And then we're going to repeat what we just did with one leg bent. So you're going to go a little bit forward. And you're going to attend to that sense of space, right? We're kind of listening into the quiet almost. And when we turn that knowledge to the body, when the stretch starts to happen, it's like noise, you could say, like the body gives feedback, it's louder. There's going to be a point where it's too loud, it's too much, so you stop there. Okay, we're going to lean to the right. So same as we did before, we just have both legs straight. We're going to take the top arm up or not, your choice. We're going to twist and face the right leg, head down. Do you need to be more firm with the body, like engage more, straighten the legs more, pull, push more? Do you need more gentleness with this relationship, right? What helps your body open and relax and feel more free and strong and alive? Lean to the left leg. So we can apply all these techniques to all parts of our lives. This is what we like to call universal alignment. Twist and face the left leg. Spacious, listening. Could be to sounds, could be to the mind, can be to the body. And then come on back up. And just like before, we're going to make our way down to the floor. So we're going to just reverse how we got here. When we're sitting, we're going to bring the feet back so they're kind of hovering. We're going to hold the knees and we're going to let the low back lead the way. So we're going to round, pull the belly in, and kind of control the descent so that we don't just flop to the floor. And upon arrival, draw the knees toward the chest. And I'm going to give an option that some of you may like. If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, it's suggested that you would skip this and just stay with holding the knees. If you feel okay with that part of your body, your bone structure, you can swing the feet toward the overhead, use your hands under your behind and elevate. So where I'm going to suggest that we stay, instead of going to full kind of shoulder stand or plow, is to keep some weight on the upper back. Bend the knees, bring the knees toward the forehead and support with the hands on the butt. So kind of classic yoga, the butt would be kind of above the face and we'd be almost all the way up on the shoulders and head. So we're allowing for a little bit of the weight to be on the upper back here. You can open the knees apart. You can reach the feet toward the floor if that feels safe. I'm just suggesting that we keep the weight a little bit more distributed on the upper back and shoulders, not just the head and shoulders. It's a little less severe of a neck stretch and less weight there on the neck. So keep some weight in your hands, supporting your hips. This is like, kind of the fetal position when you were in the womb, upside down. Imagine you were like that for months when you were a baby in your mama's belly. So just go back to this idea of listening. Whether you're holding your knees, you're kind of more upside down in this little version of snail pose. You're holding your hips. You're going to begin to release the hips and start to roll out. And we'll let the feet go. Everybody put feet on ground. And we'll just rest here for a brief moment longer, listening, giving space for everything that we're processing, all the information that's coming in, or perhaps going out. Try to find that quietness of mind. And take a nice big breath in, and let it out, and start to move, maybe to sway the legs or to roll the head from side to side, to wake up. And in your own time, just roll to your side. You're welcome to spend more time here resting, or to make your way all the way back to sitting up and to going back about your day. And just remember that this is a simple practice that you can input anywhere in your life. If you're feeling really frazzled or busy, or it's loud somewhere, try to find that sense of quiet or spaciousness and bring that into your mind and your body as well. Thanks so much for practicing. Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you next time.